Welcome, my peeps, my peoples. Please like, comment, subscribe to my YouTube channel. It'd be greatly appreciated from the bottom of my heart, my peeps, my peoples. So let's talk about Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 10, Episode 7. We start off with Sheree. She's at the store. She's buying some doors for that huge-ass mansion that she has. And them doors cost $8,200, and probably for two is the same price. Like, she be paying some money. So she's looking at doors. And then did you see Sheree leave her house to drop her daughter off at school in Washington, D.C.? Them cars. Where's Sheree getting that money from? Did Tyrone drop some money in Sheree's account? Did he tell her where she can dig up that bag of money, where that money's at? If it's in a foreign account, some Swiss bank account, what's going on? So anyway, Sheree, she meets up there with Portia. She's there chilling with Portia. Basically, they're talking, they're having a good time. And basically, who they're talking about? They're talking about Kenya and Cynthia. Basically, they're saying like, yo, if I was Cynthia, I'd feel some type of way because, yo, that's your husband. And, Kenya married Mark and whatever, and she didn't even invite Cynthia, and they supposed to be BFFs, they supposed to be friends. Did you see that? That was some mess. And then we move over to Candy's over there. She's at Cynthia's house, and then Kenya comes over, and basically they're talking, asking Kenya how was the funeral. Kenya was like, the only mother I ever knew. Damn, what's up with Kenya's mom just abandoning her? How can you abandon a child? And what was it? Anyways, so they're like talking to her about the situation, and she's like, Kenya's in her feelings, she's in her moment because she lost the only woman that was ever her mom. So it is what it is with that situation. So Portia and Sheree is still sitting up there in the store talking about Cynthia and basically Kenya's friendship. Like, how are they really friends? Like, that's some shit. Like, that's messed up. Like, why wouldn't you invite your friend? If anybody, you should invite Cynthia. Maybe they're TV friends. Maybe they private friends. Maybe they didn't want. Maybe maybe it ain't all the what it seems to be. Maybe they are friends, but friends to a certain extent where you don't invite people. You don't invite some of your friends to your wedding. Anyways, like, I have friends that probably won't invite me to their wedding, but I have friends that they better invite me to their wedding. I better be there. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, Cynthia and Kenya and Candy are basically talking, and they're talking about Sheree. That's like, what's up with Sheree and her? What's the deal with Sheree and this jailbird? You better call Tyrone. Candy was like, oh, she can't call Tyrone, he gotta call her. I was like, yo, why you shading Sheree? But I think Sheree can handle the shade. You know why? Because she's the bone carrier, and she's doing what she got to do to be on this show and stay on this show, even though she's pulling a Candy line from Love and Hip Hop New York. But anyways, it is what it is. So basically, they're throwing shade at her relationship, that she's with a jailbird or whatever, and she's in love and all that other good stuff. I was like, they just sat there and just talked about her. But on the other hand, Portia asks, Sheree at the door store, like, hey, I heard rumors that you and Mr. Tyrone is married. What's up with that? She was like, that's just rumor. We ain't married. And so, but she's like, we might be married, might get married one day if everything works out. So Sheree has she has her heart set on marrying this guy Tyrone or whatever. And he actually did commit the crime that he did, was stealing money. So why would you use yourself as a role model? Like, how much of a role model is Sheree? Like, she did date a guy that abused her. She kept it a secret. She didn't say anything to her kids about it until last season. And then on top of that, now she's dating someone that is locked up, that has committed a crime. You know what? But everybody does deserve a second chance. But what kind of example she's setting for her young daughters? If one of her daughters came home with a jailbird, how would she feel? What would she say? Would she be in open arms, or would she have her nose turned up? I don't know. You tell me. So I'm just like, okay, it is what it is. So basically, they keep they keep. So Kenya and Candy and Cynthia basically are still just talking about Sheree. They was like, Nene said that she knew him and all this other stuff. They're talking about they seen, the pictures that he possibly stole millions of dollars, and basically he was embezzling money and all that other good stuff. So he's down with criminal life. He's down with the criminals. So, anyways, but he's trying to make a living. So we move on to Portia. Portia's at her house and she's having a matchmaker company come over and match her up with some guys. And basically, they looked through Portia's house and it was like, yo, you were kind of intimidating and probably turn off some men, with these bedrooms. Because Kenya had because she wants twins and she wanted a boy and a girl. And she has the rooms painted as kids and as a kid's bedroom. Plus, she doesn't have any kids and she ain't expecting no time soon. And then on top of that, she has, toys. She has a playground in the backyard. And then on top of that, there was like, guys that kind of feel a little intimidated. Yeah, it seems like she's in a rush to get married. Even, Portia was saying that, hey, listen, like, if I meet Mr. Right, I'm ready to get married and all this stuff. That was like, slow your roll. She was like, I'm down with the swirl. I'm down with Asians. I'm down with anybody that would put a ring on my finger, basically. But that's not true. So anyways, so they're going to hook her up. She got a matchmaking service. And so she's going to see what they're going to do for her. And basically, they're looking around at her house like, okay. And it's like, they did say some smart stuff or whatever, but it is what it is. So then we move on to Peter. Peter meets up with Cynthia, because Peter's in town from Charlotte or whatever. I think it's Charlotte, whatever hell he's from. And basically, they started bar one was in Charlotte and it's the number one bar and they got so much promotion. And so Cynthia wants to jump in on the craze and get down with Peter. She goes, I miss Uncle Ben. I was like, oh, she called him Uncle Ben. She's going there, huh? And so, basically they meet up and they talk. Cynthia has 25% and bar one that's going to be in Atlanta. And they're looking around. She was like, ain't not much change. She was like, he was like, I know, or whatever. And she was like, so when is this place going to be up and running? And they're talking about 4 months, but it's totally up to Peter. Cynthia was like, yeah, okay, let's get this started. And so basically they talk about, Cynthia talks about that she's dating someone right now. They're not in a relationship, but she's dating someone. She did meet somebody new and Peter is happy for her. And basically, they are following each other around online. They both, seeing what the other one's doing on the low, on a sneak tip, because they both still concerned. If Peter want to get Cynthia, if he actively tried to pursue Cynthia, I think he actually can get her because she still attracts to him. She still wants some of that dark, tough Peter. She wants some of that Uncle Ben's rice with some gravy and some biscuits. And so basically they're talking about it or whatever. And then they're leaving. And the Cynthia was like, can I get like 45% or whatever? And he was like, nah. She was like, well, how long are you in town? And he was like, what you mean? And she was like, how long are you in town? And he was like, oh no, you're gonna try to give me some of that kitty cat, some of that cookie, and think that your investment will go up. She was like, no, I'm just joking. Cynthia was serious, a heart attack. And see, she's still feeling Peter. Like, damn, why you divorce him if you still feeling him? I guess it's better to be separate from him than to be in a relationship with him. I guess that's what she's experiencing right now. I guess she's liking what they have going on because she's still feeling him, want to know what's going on with him, asking Noel what's up with Peter and all this other stuff. She is feeling Mark, or the guy that she is feeling Will, but it seems like, she wants some of that old thing back. She wants some of that old thing back. So then we get to Sheree's scene. She's talking to her kids about, the abuse that she endured, and they're just like shocked. They're like, oh my God, this is like after school, program show. And they're just like, okay, we didn't know this was going on. And they're just like quiet. And then, the youngest daughter was like, Dad tried to talk to me about it, but I thought it was very inappropriate because it was after a soccer game. And, her oldest son is like, her only son was just like, never said anything about this. They just looked like they were very dumbfounded about the situation. But what do you expect them to say? They're being filmed on camera. So Sheree's pulling out all the stuff. She got the jailbird, she got the abuse story, she got the kids there, she got the life coach. She's trying to get this on and popping. She's trying to get this storyline popping so she does not get the axe. And I don't blame her. She got mouths to feed, she got a mansion and all this other stuff, and then she got to support that high class lifestyle that she is living. And I must say, everybody on this episode did bring the heat. Everybody looked really nice in their confessionals, and even when they was filming, like, they looked so good. Like, I was like, oh shoot, I guess they had to get away from that vacation. So anyways, but what did, stick out to me is when, Sheree said that her daughter is going to, all black college or whatever, and she's so surprised because her daughter only went to, all white schools. So she was like, I guess my daughter wants to learn her history. I was like, damn, Sheree, don't you supposed to learn her history from you? Don't you supposed to teach her? Don't people in your family supposed to teach her? Because if she went to an all white schools when she was growing up in private school, they really don't teach black history. And she was like, oh, I guess she wants to learn about her people. She should already know about her people through you. Her mom's dating a goddamn jailbird. Her father's abusive. And they went from rags to riches in a couple of years. 1 minute they were staying in a mansion, next minute they're living in a condo. Now they're back in Chateau Sheree. So I think she knows a little bit. But I'm saying, Sheree, you don't teach your daughter about black history. You don't, she don't talk to her grandmother. She don't talk to her aunt. She don't talk to her father. You guys don't be teaching your kids about their history. This is what's wrong with America. So anyways, moving on from that, we get Todd and Candy. Basically, they're chilling or whatever, and basically a swim coach is coming over. Candy's feeling like, damn, she's not a good mother. She feels like, she's not the ideal mother that she wants to be. They got a swimming coach coming over to help, their youngest son, learn how to swim and things like that. And, Candy was like, I feel so bad. I'm away from my kids. I'm away from my little son. And I'm away from Riley. But she didn't mention Todd's daughter. So what's up with that, Candy? Ain't you her stepmother? So you don't consider her your child? Well, she's just a boarder in your house. Like, I heard you, Candy. You did not say her as your children. You named your 2 biological children. You didn't name Todd's child. What's up with that, Candy? So anyways, they get in the pool and they learn how to swim. Her little son is learning how to swim, so that was cool or whatever. Then she also takes Riley out to to do air surfing or whatever. And basically that's the same thing that Stephen J did on his show, Being Stevie or Living Stevie or whatever. I'm like, are they all like, they rotate the places they go on these reality TV shows? And basically Riley is just like, yo, I don't spend time with you, you ain't around, blah, and the third. And then Candy's just like, yo, won't you come on the road with me? And she was like, nah, I'm in school. And Candy was like, you used to enjoy it. She was like, well, I didn't have that much responsibilities back then. So I was like, damn. And so Riley's going to be getting her license while we really watch Riley grow up. And Riley wants to drive the car. And Candy's like, nah, Riley's going to get her own brand new car. You watch. So that was a good scene or whatever. And Riley looks like an adult woman. She looks like a grown woman. And so then moving on from that, we get Cynthia. She's getting ready for a double date with Todd and Candy. Basically, they go on a boat ride or whatever. And, Cynthia's making out with Will. And, Candy was saying, Todd feels some type of way about going out in this double date because he feels loyalty to Peter. And he was like, it's just yesterday they were married and now they're not. But then they showed a flashback that Peter is okay with them to embrace anybody else that Cynthia brings on the show or Cynthia date or whatever. So he's being very mature about the situation. So anyways, they get on the boat. Candy starts to grill the dude. Like, she's grilling him like, I heard you was on 2 dating shows or whatever. And one dating show, you was on the Steve Harvey show. He was on a Coon show with Steve Harvey. And she was like, there's another show that you was going to be on. He was shooting a pilot or whatever. And so she was like, so what's up with that? And so Will was like, listen, the second show, I didn't commit to it. I didn't shoot. I didn't do anything to it. I didn't do anything like that. And he was just like shocked. And he was like, I know you're concerned and worried about Cynthia, but we're taking it slow. We're doing our thing. And it's just like, damn, Candy, you went there. So you can kind of see why, Candy doesn't want to bring her husband around. You see how the girls are talking about Sheree's. Even Candy was a part of that conversation, talking about Sheree's jailbird, talking about Cynthia's guy, was on dating shows or whatever. So she knows that her husband's going to be under the heat. Maybe he could face the heat, but maybe she doesn't want to put him in that type of situation to bring the stress home. So we can understand some of the reasons why or whatever. And so then we get back to, Candy and Candy and Cynthia talk, and they go to a private area of the boat and they start talking or whatever. And Candy was like, yo, so did you have sex with him? Like, she was like, nah, I didn't have sex with him or whatever. No, I didn't have sex with him. And then Candy was like, you done got some. I know you done got some. She was like, I didn't say I didn't have sex. I said I didn't have sex with him, but I didn't say I didn't have sex. So did Cynthia hook up with Peter? Did she get some of that old thing back? Did she get some of that Uncle Ben's? What's up with that? Did she get Mr. Uncle Ben's back? What's good? So, anyways, then they talk about, Will's penis size, if it's big, if it's little, or whatever. Cynthia was like, I'm like 50 years old now. I want me some Fat Joe. I want me some Big Pun. I don't know if the guys that she used, since they are overweight, maybe their penis, is not that big, but I don't know. But she was just letting you know that she wants the real deal. Holyfield, she wants that big thing. I was like, okay, Cynthia. And Cynthia was like, it ain't gonna work if it ain't big. And so then Todd is talking to Will, basically, but during the whole night, Todd kept throwing up like, oh, I was gonna wear my Peter sunglasses. And he's bringing up Peter this and Peter that, because basically, he still feels some type of way about the situation because, he was close to Peter. Same thing with Apollo. He was close to Apollo. So whatever. And so now they all interming again. They all join together and start talking. And then that's when Cynthia was like, Todd was like, so what did you guys talk about? And Cynthia answered the question. She was like, oh, we was just talking about if I had sex with Will. Yeah. And I told her no. And then we talked about like maybe what if me and Will ain't compatible and it's not good or whatever. And I was like, damn, I already like him for it not to be good. And Candy's looking like, I told you. You're not supposed to tell him. And Candy's looking at Cynthia like, damn, you can't hold water, girlfriend. You should really be the bone carrier. And so then Todd is like, oh boy. Todd grabs a drink and they're just looking like, damn, Cynthia, you made the situation totally awkward. Like, yo, okay. So then we move on to, Portia. She's going on her date. And, this company that set up, matchmaker company that set up Portia, I think no one's going to try him out in Atlanta or anywhere else, because the guy that they set Portia up with was horrible. Like, you can tell that he wasn't Portia's type. You can tell that him and Portia wouldn't be a good mix. She's more outgoing. She's more flashy. She's more flamboyant. She's more talkative. She's more down to earth. And she's more like fun, hippie, young. And this guy is more older, with his suit, with his conversation, the way he talked, the way he addressed her. It would have totally been awkward if they interviewed Cynthia and they interviewed him. Why would they think that she would be attracted to him? And why would they think that they would have good conversations or, anything? Boy, Portia walked in. Portia looked good. That's the worst thing ever. When you get ready to go on a date and you look good and you get your nails done, you get your hair done, you get everything done. You flawless from head to toe, because clearly Portia was flawless. And then you get there and you're like, damn, I wasted all this money and all this time. I could have just been sitting around watching TV. And you get there. She walked in. And she looked at him and she walked. She was about to leave, but she was on camera, so she didn't leave. If there was no camera there, Portia would have got right back in her car and left. So anyways, they're sitting at the table and it's just like awkward. And she's just like, oh, Lord, help me. So she's like, I'm hot. She's trying to drink water because she's trying not to laugh. She's trying not to be rude because she's on camera too as well. But it's not his fault that she's not attracted to him. It's just that her matchmaking people messed it up. And she was like, yo, my mom is staying with me, I only got 30 minutes to be out here in these streets, because I got to get back home. My mom's calling me or whatever. So it was just like, damn, why they set Portia up like that? Why do you try to make Portia look bad? Because Portia was probably going to react and not the way that most people, what mainstream America would want her to act more properly. She was being herself and was just like, damn, son, I'm not feeling this dude. And then the conversation went left. When she said, oh, so tell me what's exciting about yourself. And he was like, well, I'm a little messy. And she was like, oh, so you messy? He was like, nah, I'm a little messy around the house. So you could see how did they think that these conversations were going to go okay? Unless they feel like, oh, she's on Destination. Did they watch Destination? Do they watch Atlanta Housewives to know that this conversation was not going to go anywhere? And he also said to her that you're not cocky and you're not stuck up, because most pretty women have something wrong with them. So after saying a statement like that, that's a no-go. That's a no bueno. That's a no-go. Because he doesn't know every pretty woman. He has not been on a date with every pretty woman or whatever. So for him to make a general blanket statement like that about every woman is just like, okay, it's a no-go. Like, you're not even nice enough to have a conversation with. And basically she was like, I'm ugly duckling, I'm regular, I'm just like you when I get home with no, I don't have no hair on my head. Basically she's saying she ain't got no wig on, she probably got a stopping cap on or whatever. She, you know what I mean? She was just like, when I'm at home I look just like you, bald. I was like, why you go there, Portia? What are you trying to say, you don't got no hair? And then you dissed him and dissed yourself at the same damn time. But she was just basically saying, I don't have on my wigs. I was like, oh goodness. And so she was just like, yo, I think I got enough. I got another call, and she was about to bounce. And then he walked her out, and then he was kind of like, they was kind of like holding hands, or like her arm was around his arm. And then as soon as they got to the doorway, she moved her arm. She was like, no, this is a no-go. So then we get Sheree. Sheree meets up with her life coach, and Sheree is just rude and just mad ignorant. And Sheree, you know, meets up with a life coach, tells him that, you know, she told her kids about the situation. And then she gets a phone call. You know, she get a call, identify that it's Tyrone. So she goes outside and was like, I'm going to take this call. She leaves him in the room while she's talking on the phone. And then she's talking to Tyrone, and she was like, so what you doing? You know what he's doing? He's locked up behind bars. He ain't doing a goddamn thing. He was just waiting on to call you. And then I was like, Sheree, why you have to go there? Why you got to say stuff like that? And then Sheree tells us that they, you know, they dated 6 years ago, and then 4 years ago they just stopped talking. And because they stopped talking is because, you know, the FBI was involved, and he didn't want her, the FBI was watching him, and he didn't want her to be involved in the situation at all. So basically he cut ties to her. And then a year ago he saw her, then a year ago he called her on her birthday, and that was last year. And then Sheree was like, oh my God, this is a great storyline. Tyrone, let's date. You know what I mean? You can call me, because she's seen, you know, Yandy do it, you know, with Mendici. So she was like, yo, this is perfect storyline. I bring up last year's storyline with Bob, and then I bring you in as my new love and my true love, my soulmate, and be convicted. This is a perfect storyline. So anyways, you know, Tyrone's talking about, you know, it hurt me so much that I couldn't even tell you that I just had to stop talking to you because I didn't want you to get involved with the feds. And it really hurt me so bad. It hurt me so much that I couldn't talk to you and tell you how I feel. And I let you go and blah, 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 and all this other stuff. Then Sheree gets back inside and she talks to the life coach. And the life coach was like, so seems like you're happy or whatever. She was like, yeah, you know, I'm dating someone. I got a boyfriend. I don't know if that's appropriate to say at my age. He was like, well, you got a boyfriend. She was like, but he's in jail. He just called me. She was like, he's in prison? He's in jail? For real? Sheree was like, yes. And then he goes, you know, all the girls are going to be yapping. She was like, I don't care what they say. I'm in love, baby. I'm in love. I'm in love. And she's just like, yo, you know, I can't wait for him to get out. You know what I mean? We're going to have this fantasy. She was like, we're going to have this love. And we're going to be together forever. Hopefully, if everything's right like it's supposed to, we're supposed to get married. Everything's supposed to be perfect and all this other stuff, you know. And we're exclusive. Of course you are exclusive. He's in jail. He can't date anybody else physically. He can date somebody else on the phone. So you don't even know if you're really exclusive. But like Saray says the most dumbest shit. Exclusive, of course. He's locked up. He can't be with nobody. So you are exclusive. And you choose to be exclusive to him because this is your storyline. And so anyways, so the doctor was like, you know, I think you're in some type of fantasy, and you know, you talk and everything's convenient. He's like the perfect man because he is locked up, basically. And she was like, no, I love him. He's my soulmate. He's my man. And he was like, so when is he gonna get out? She was like, oh, he's supposed to get out next year. And if he doesn't get out next year, he got 4 more years to go. So you know what that means? He's stringing her all along, if that's true. And they always say, you know, a lot of people will say like, oh, I'm getting out this year, and they don't get out this year. They get out 2 years later, 3 years later, because sometimes they don't really know their time, and sometimes they try to string you along and have you to fall in love with them more. So it's like whatever. So the doctor was like, her life coach was like, so what if he doesn't get out in 4 years? What if he doesn't get out in a year? She was like, I don't know. We'll deal with that when it comes. I was like, okay. Sheree's crazy. Peace. I'm out. One love.